Everyone online looks rich, but somehow you've got no savings. You're broke. You're quietly broke. Everyone's flexing. No one's saving. Let me start with a scenario that might feel a little too familiar. It's the middle of the month. You got paid, maybe 10 days ago, and somehow your bank account already looks like it's been through a small natural disaster. But here's the weird part. You didn't do anything crazy. You didn't buy a car. You didn't book a vacation. You didn't make some massive impulse purchase. You just lived. A few dinners out, a couple of Amazon orders, coffee here, food delivery there, maybe one outfit you definitely needed. And now you're sitting there doing that thing where you open your banking app, close it, open it again, like the number is going to magically fix itself. And that's happening. You hop on Instagram. Someone you know is in Miami. Someone else just bought a new car. Someone's flexing a Rolex. Another person's posting their third soft life reel of the week. And you're thinking, am I doing something wrong? Because it feels like everyone else has money, and I definitely don't. Okay. If that made you uncomfortable, good. Because that's the point. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, behavior, and why smart people keep making the same financial mistakes over and over again. And if you're someone who makes decent money, looks like they're doing fine on the outside, but secretly feels like one bad month away from panic, hit subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, because this one's about you. Here's the thing. We are living in the most financially performative era in human history. At no other point have so many people looked wealthy while being completely unprepared for real life. And no one wants to talk about it, because flexing feels good and saving feels boring. Now look, this isn't a stop buying coffee video, and it's definitely not a just budget harder lecture. This is about something much deeper than that. This is about psychology. This is about incentives. This is about how the system quietly rewards looking rich instead of being financially secure. And once you see it, you won't unsee it. Let's start with a stat that should genuinely scare you. According to the Federal Reserve, nearly 40% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency without borrowing money or selling something. $400. That's not a car repair. That's not a medical emergency. That's one unexpected bill. At the same time, luxury spending is exploding. High-end retail sales are up. Designer brands are breaking revenue records. Buy now, pay later usage has more than doubled in just a few years. Now you might be thinking, okay, Nick, but maybe people are just earning more. That's the story we tell ourselves. But here's what most people don't realize. Real wages, adjusted for inflation, have barely moved. In some income brackets, they've actually gone down. Meanwhile, housing, healthcare, education, food, and transportation have all gotten significantly more expensive. So how does that make sense? Simple. People didn't get richer. They just got better at appearing rich. This is where it gets interesting. Social media didn't just change how we communicate. It changed how we measure success. We no longer compare ourselves to our neighbors or coworkers. We compare ourselves to a highlight reel of the most expensive moments of everyone we've ever met, plus a bunch of strangers. And your brain is terrible at handling that. Psychologically, humans are wired for relative comparison. If everyone around you looks like they're winning, your brain assumes you're falling behind, even if you're objectively doing okay. So what do? We compensate. We upgrade the phone. We finance the car. We keep the apartment that's just a little too expensive. We say yes to trips we can't really afford. We swipe now and promise ourselves we'll figure it out later, and later never comes. Let me give you a concrete example. Let's say you make $75,000 a year. On paper, that's solid money. After taxes, maybe you're taking home around $4,500 a month. You get an apartment for $1,700. Car payment, $450. Insurance, $150. Utilities, phone, internet, $300. Food, $600. Subscriptions, random spending, lifestyle stuff, $700. Congratulations. You're already at $30,900. That leaves $600. That's not saving. That's breathing room. And that breathing room disappears the moment something goes wrong. But from the outside, you look fine. You've got the place, the car, the lifestyle, the occasional flex. This is what I call being quietly broke. You're not struggling enough for anyone to worry about you, including yourself. But you're not building anything either. Now you might be thinking, okay, but isn't this just how life is now? That's the most dangerous thought of all, because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. Most people aren't bad with money. They're bad with timelines. They're optimizing for the present at the expense of the future. Flexing gives you dopamine today. Saving gives you security later. And your brain, especially under stress, will choose dopamine almost every time. This is where psychology really kicks in. Behavioral economists call this present bias. We dramatically overvalue rewards we get now, and undervalue rewards we get later, even when later is objectively better. That's why people finance $1,200 phones and skip retirement contributions. That's why someone with zero emergency fund is wearing $300 shoes. That's why buy now, pay later is so powerful. It doesn't feel like spending. It feels like borrowing happiness from your future self. But your future self, they're going to send you the bill. Let's talk about saving, because this is where the illusion really falls apart. The average American savings account has less than $5,000 in it. And for people under 40, it's often much lower. At the same time, surveys show that a majority of people believe they're doing okay financially. That disconnect is wild, and it exists because we confuse income with stability. Income is what you earn. Stability is what you keep. Flexing requires income. Saving requires discipline and the willingness to feel temporarily behind. And that's hard when everyone around you looks like they're winning. Here's a metaphor that might help. Imagine two people running on treadmills. One is sprinting, fast, flashy, exhausting, everyone notices them. The other is walking at a steady pace, boring, unremarkable, sustainable. The sprinter looks impressive, right up until they collapse. The walker, they just keep going. That's money. Now look, I'm not anti-fun. I'm not anti-travel. I'm not saying you should live like a monk. But there's a massive difference between intentional spending and performative spending. Performative spending is buying things to signal success. Intentional spending is buying things that actually improve your life. And here's what most people don't realize. No one is tracking your lifestyle as closely as you think. People care for about 3 seconds, then they go back to worrying about their own problems. But the debt, the stress, the lack of savings, that sticks with you. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because once you strip away the flexing, a lot of people realize they're one layoff, one medical bill, one family emergency away from real trouble. And that's not a personal failure, that's a systemic trap. We've built an economy that monetizes insecurity. Every ad you see is designed to make you feel slightly behind, and then offer you a solution you can finance. But the math doesn't lie. If you're not saving at least 10 to 20% of your income consistently, you're not building resilience. You're just maintaining the illusion. And illusions are expensive. Now you might be thinking, okay, Nick, so what do I actually do? Good question. Because awareness without action is just anxiety. Step 1 is brutally simple. Stop using other people's lifestyles as financial benchmarks. Most of the people flexing are either drowning in debt, living paycheck to paycheck, or being subsidized in ways you can't see. Step 2, build a boring emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses, not investments, not crypto, cash. This is your don't panic fund. Step 3, automate your savings before you see the money. If it's optional, it won't happen. Make saving the default, not the leftover. And step 4, redefine what rich actually means. Rich is not looking expensive. Rich is sleeping well. Rich is not panicking when your car makes a weird noise. Rich is being able to say no. Here's the quiet part no one posts. The people who are actually winning financially look boring for a long time. They don't flex early. They build quietly. And then one day, the stress is gone. That's trade-off. You can flex now and stress later, or feel behind now and free later. Everyone's flexing, no one's saving. And that's exactly why saving is your unfair advantage. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're paying attention. And if you want more honest conversations about money, not the highlight reel version, hit subscribe. Your future self will thank you.